YouTubers just want to state first, no responsibilities here. You should have an electrical contractor do any kind of electrical work in your home, or at least a journeyman electrician that's qualified, knows what they're doing, of course. Just kind of want to hit on something that's bringing up a lot of questions. I try to think of good topics with the 3-prong and the 4-prong dryer plug. Everything's been changed to a 4-prong outlet, and a lot of people are having problems with that. And a lot of people say, well, why did we make this change? And for people that don't understand why we made this change, it's a change that's been needed to be changed since the end of time. As far as dryers, electric dryers were invented with this 3-prong setup, in my opinion. And I didn't realize it for a lot of years. It was probably 15 years ago I went out on a service call, and I'll tell you what happened is the half of the breaker tripped. It was a 220 setup, and the dryer was spinning and everything was working fine, and there was just no heat because it was only getting 110 volts to the element instead of 220, so weren't getting any heat. But at the same time, there's an electric motor in there. Yeah, so that probably already sparked a brain cell there with people that understand what's going on as far as your journeyman electricians and apprenticed. So now we're tying that ground wire, and neutral. That electric motor needs a neutral, so it's feeding through that ground. So what do we have? We have potential. So it's a manufacturer issue at this point, I believe, even to date. I don't know if they've changed it since, but we've went to this 4-prong setup. But the last dryer I installed probably 5-6 years ago with this 4-prong setup, it went back with the whip into the dryer itself, and the neutrals and grounds tied together inside the dryer. So what's the sense in doing all these changes if they're the manufacturers aren't going to change it? So maybe within time, or maybe it's been changed in the last 5 years or whatever, where they're actually separating that. But I had this in another video with sub panels, where neutrals and grounds tend to get mixed up, and this is a big no-no. So hopefully this helps some of you out there and get some wheels turning. But that ground wire, in my opinion, my 2 cents, should be drilled and tapped into the frame of the dryer itself, and the neutral would tie to the old ground lead, because there's current running through that ground wire that's been hooked up all these years. So if you're changing an old setup over to a new setup, and you may even have to do it on some of these new setups, the way I see it, because they're as of 5-6 years ago, I believe, like I said, with the last one that I did, it just, the neutrals and grounds tied together in the unit. So really we're changing these plugs out and putting 4-prong plugs in, and right hand obviously hasn't talked to the left hand, and the manufacturers are still goofing on their end. So just a little food for the soul, my 2 cents, just a little conversation there to put out there, get some wheels turning, and maybe you guys leave some comments with what you guys think about this.